Um, Somebody knocked on my doorbell not long ago. Well, it's 20 years as long ago, but they were collecting money for brown bears. And, I'm thinking Smokey the Bear, they're cute, they're cuddly, and I gave them 20 bucks and never thought another thing about it until I went to the Canadian Arctic some years ago and met my first polar bears. And I think that they were pissed because they know I never gave money for polar bears. Anyhow, going up to a place called Baffin Island is the largest landmass in Canada. It's almost totally uninhabitable, and it's only Inuits who live there. And guess what? It's not a tourist trap. And somehow our travel agents sent us there. So we are in this non-tourist trap, and as you fly, we flew into Edmonton, and then we flew further north, and the farther north we went, the smaller the planes got. And the back of the plane was filled with fruits and vegetables because they have no trees, they have no way to grow anything on Baffin Island. So all of that food has to be flown in. So we wound up, the last plane we took, there were only 2 seats, it was us. And it's no airport. It's like a little 2-bedroom apartment sitting in the middle of an ice floe. And he put our luggage on the ground and just kicked it, because it just flew across the ice. My fear about going to Baffin Island was that polar bears are the same color as the environment, because everything is ice and everything is snow. There are no cars, there are no roads. A big city on Baffin Island is 200 people in its little village. So I learned early, the first night that we were there, we heard this howling about 2 o'clock in the morning, because these people don't keep dogs as house pets. They anchor them around the village so they would know when bears are there. And these dogs are howling, and you're inside and you're safe, but it doesn't feel safe knowing there's polar bears right outside. One of the bears chased 2 little kids into the village, and so they shot the bear. And what happens is when they do that, because these people live on the land, they don't have supermarkets, they don't have food coming in, except the fruits and vegetables that come in through the plains. So they are still eating whale. They're using it for oil in their houses, for lamps. And they are eating everything that's on the land. But what they do is they shared this bear with the whole village. So everybody got a piece of meat. And they shared the skin from the bear with the whole village, anybody who was making clothes or needed skins. What I found out with some of the older women there, their teeth were all worn down because they did the tanning in their mouths at a time. And it's not nice that they keep the Inuits on Baffin Island. Unless you play hockey, you don't get off Baffin Island. And so it was, feeling exactly the same as we treat Native Americans here. They were treated the same way. The trip was a lot of walking, and again, unless you were on a snowmobile, there was no other way to move. Even the dog sleds have trouble because icicles come up from the ground. So they didn't use dog sleds in a lot of places. I lost my train of thought. Would somebody tell me what my train of thought was? Icicles. Oh yeah, we hired 2 guides, and there were 2 of us, and we were on these snowmobiles, and I didn't know that they were hired for 4 hours. Now this is freezing cold, and if you're on this snowmobile for 4 hours, it's going to get dark. And it's going to get colder. Anyhow, the guides didn't speak English, so there was no way to even ask questions. And I had this feeling that, if a bear comes up on us, they're going to take us on the back of the snowmobile first. So our guide did have a gun, and it was in a basket that he carried on the back of the snowmobile, and it was in a bag, and it was unloaded. So figuring that this bear is going to be gnawing on me while he gets his gun out and loads it and shoots the bear. Now, when we first landed, and it took me years to realize that this was a joke. When we first landed in this little 2-bedroom apartment on the landing strip there was a big sign that says, "What to do if a polar bear is after you." And you're supposed to walk away slowly, taking off one piece of clothes at the time. The bear will stop and smell the clothes, and eventually you are nude. The bear doesn't have to tear through your clothes, and you're dead. But when we first landed, we didn't know it was a joke. Anyway, my grandson's here with me tonight, and I'm taking my family to up to the Alaska for an Alaskan cruise, and because I know that those brown bears are going to remember, I gave them $20.